The old woman was a mistake, perhaps, but it wasn't a human being I killed. It was a principle.
It has been over 2 years that I have been here. I haven't seen my family since then. I'm having a real hard time, but I promise you I will pay everything soon. Just give me more time. Hello? Hello? Are you there?
That was a daily call that I used to have with the landlady. She always ends up by hair hanging up in my face. I was well aware that I will have to find myself a way to pay the rent, otherwise this crazy woman was seriously going to kick me out, as if I was keeping the money for myself or whatever. I went to find out another lovely surprise. Oh my god, great, the bills were here too. Perfect. But there was something else upon the bills. Mother. She was worried since I haven't written to her for a while, but what would I have said anyway? The letter stabbed me right in my heart. My sister, she was working as a maid, hoping she would help me, and Mother. Poor Mother wasn't able to take care of both of us anymore. Someone asked for my sister's hands. He wants to marry her, and as Mother mentioned, she wasn't willing to accept, but he's rich and from a well-to-do family. She kinda regards him as her savior and thinks that he will take good care of us all, me included. You don't want to know how heartbroken, weak and helpless I felt. I can't take care of my own family. The one thing that I have to do, I can't even do it, let alone doing it right. I always thought of myself as a good person, you know, better than anyone else, but how did I fall into this? I think that was what I was mad about the most. I felt as if I disappointed myself and I needed to make it up one way or another. I can't be like them. I'm not. I left my room. I was walking around the streets clueless and thinking about everything and nothing. Then finally, I decided that I will not allow this marriage to happen. I'm going to find a way, and I will solve everything for good. On my way back to my room, I saw her, Sonia. The angelic human being that without her I wouldn't be where I am now. She possesses this mixture of childlike qualities and mature intelligence that I find alluring. She's always dealing with much her sick alcoholic dad, her on and off job, you know. She smiled at me and shared with me part of their dinner and asked me to take good care of myself. She was the only good thing that happened that night. And she was the only thing that makes sense in my life back then. The next few months nothing changed but having endless fights with the landlady, struggling to find something to eat during the day and overthinking about my family and how can I help them. I have fallen into a depression and avoided any human contact. Those people do not care about anyone else but themselves. I always think about all those rich people and how mostly they do not deserve their wealth. All of them are arrogant, stupid and careless. how perfect the world will be without them, how comfortable we would be, how happy I would be if some sort of paranormal power just takes all of their lives. I should have known that those thoughts started turning extreme, though unspecified. There was this act that I was thinking about committing, but I believe that I am incapable of it. I mean, I don't even have the stomach to face the landlady. But I couldn't help thinking about it. The idea kept going through my mind. It did disturb and troubled me, but it was there. The next day I had to pay a visit to the pawnbroker. I met this old lady 1 month ago. She pretends that she helps students by loaning them money and then suck the life out of them to take it back. She's ugly, cruel, and her eyes sparkle with malice, and whenever I see her, she treats me rudely and reminds me of all the money I already owe her, as if I don't already know. Whenever I was in her house, I noticed how it is ugly as well, the furniture too, but always quite clean. Well, thanks to her sister. I also couldn't help but to notice where she hides all the money and the valued items she has in the back room. I took what I needed of money, what she allowed me to take, and reminded me of how useless and stupid I am for wasting my money and sparing all the time I have instead of having a job, and stopped coming to her, of course. Before leaving, I wondered whether her sister would be here tomorrow night. She didn't actually answer, but she shouted in my face, "What do you have to do with that, you filthy?" I hate her voice, and I hate her. I really do. As I was walking out of the building of her apartment, I was also carefully noticing everything, all of the details, and I learned them by heart. I came back to my room, sat in a corner in the dark, and thought deeply and long enough about my plan. Then I went out and sat in a cafe and overheard 2 students. One of them declared how good life would be without her. Seems like she was giving everyone a hard time. And if only she gets killed and her will just dole out among the poor of the city. And this just echoed my thoughts. I was struck by the coincidence of hearing them spoken by someone else. I became sure she has to die. I went back to my room, fell asleep. I woke up a bit late and made all of my preparations. A few minutes later, I got my axe hidden in my coat and was in front of her house. She let me in. I offered her a fake cigarette case, for she was a smoker and always asks me to get her one. But this was wrapped with a difficult knot, so it can distract her while I reach the axe. Several blows, and she was dead. I stand there for a few minutes trying to process what I just did. In a hurry, I realized that I need to take what I'm here for and leave. I headed to the back room, took what I could. I didn't find much, weirdly, but right there I heard someone walking up the stairs. Next, the door was opened and her sister walked in. It didn't take her long to notice. She was standing just there, paralyzed and shocked. I didn't have choice but to hit her too. One blow was enough and she lay dead too. I panicked. I was clueless right when I realized that the door was open for the whole time. I was terrified and desperate. I rushed and closed it, and then I washed all of the blood off my hands and the axe, and then somehow I had the strength to escape. I had a sleepless night, and the next morning I was frantically searching for traces of blood on my clothes. I found the items that the gold that I have taken the last night. My whole body was shaken. I didn't have the strength to do anything. I was scared, and a cloud of millions of thoughts was hovering over my head. What will happen? What now? I'm a murderer. I killed not one but two women. I took their lives, ended their journey. Is it worth it? How did I do that? Can this be the punishment already beginning? Indeed it is. I later got summoned by the police station. I felt as if my breathing isn't anymore as easy. I was barely standing straight and able to feel my heartbeats, and everything else was blur. I get there and knew that the landlady reported me as a debtor. Meanwhile, the detective was there, discussing yesterday's crime. I was semi-delirious, shivers all over my body, and the next thing I remember is me waking up in my room. Turns out that I have been in a coma for straight 4 days. My best friend and Sonia took care of me. My friend noticed something bizarre. He just knew that I wasn't myself. He wondered, and I could somehow trick him into thinking that my sister's issue is the problem. He didn't believe me but played along. I know his looks. I went out wandering in the street, trying to get any information about the crime from random strangers. Then I started thinking about dumping the gold and all the stolen items in a river, but I ended up burying them somewhere. I started wondering what were my real motives. If I started thinking about getting rid of what I have stolen, then why did I do all of that? I was looking fanatic and eccentric to everyone I meet, and gets anxiety on the mere mentioning of the murder. I thought many times of suicide but didn't give fate any chance. Many nights I found myself unconsciously in front of her house. I had many dreams about killing her again and again, but she never dies in my dreams. She bursts into laughter, and now I understand that this dream was actually illustrating my inability to bear the punishment of the crime that I did. I never was able to, and she always made fun of me for being useless and weak. I woke up the next day feverish. Luckily, Sonia came by to check on me. I was shaken again, and she saw it through me. She asked me, "What's wrong?" And as if I was waiting for someone to approach me and ask me what was wrong, I fell on her knees and burst into tears. She didn't do anything but hugging me. I killed her. I killed the pawnbroker, her sister too. Someone had to do it, and none of those cowards would ever do it. She had to die. She's rotten. She doesn't deserve to live. Sonia, you do understand, right? She had to die. You do understand, right? Please say something. And then I told her all about what I thought were my reasons. Why did I kill her? Sonia looked at me and said nothing, but "You aren't much of a religious. That's your punishment, apparently." I looked at her shocked, and I've just confessed her a crime and she's bringing up religion? Then I looked to my reflection on the partly broken window glass, and for the first time I saw my face. It was truly me. I turned back to her, I smiled and continued. I always adored Napoleon, you know. I was ambitious to become another Napoleon. That's why I committed the murder. It wasn't because of poverty. I always wanted to prove myself extraordinary. Always wanted to break the moral code that binds the ordinary people. I'm not ordinary, Sonia. I have never been. But that cost me every single ounce of peace I may ever had. The old woman was a mistake, perhaps, Sonia, but it wasn't a human being I killed, it was a principle. Sonia, as always, was calm and heavenly and told me that I need to publicly confess my crime for God to forgive me, and only then I will find peace. At first, I called her crazy and I resist. I didn't want to go to jail, but then I consent. When she held my hands and promised me to be always there for me and support me. The next day I headed to the police station. I was anxiously dreading from the public humiliation of confessing. I kept observing every detail around me because I knew that I am taking the last look as a free man. I wanted to come back, but when I turned, I saw her face. She was there, smiling like an angel. She waved me goodbye and gave me an air kiss. I will do it. I will do it for both of us, love. I spent 8 years in the prison and I confessed everything in the trial and refused any defense of my actions because I finally was aware that I did it. Just because I want to regain my pseudo self-respect. My poor mother didn't take the news well. She got sicker and died a few months after. For my sister, she was rescued by my friend, the one who always has been there for me too. They got married and lived happily. As for me, the prisoners hated me, but I didn't care. From time to time, Sonia comes to visit. We sometimes find the chance to just sit outside and hold hands until the visit time is over. She never abandoned me, and I saw infinite happiness in her eyes. I loved her, I truly did. And she was the only thing that motivated me to keep going. Well, I think that the moral of my story is that you will have to lose yourself several times until you get to find who you are. And you? What do you think the moral of this story is? Welcome back to a new episode of Asterism podcast. Hopefully you are enjoying the season. There is such a level of self-awareness that the human keeps trying to reach during all of his life. He may reach it and may not. This level allows you to know the true intentions of your actions. Believe it or not, our deeds are never selfless, but some of us do not know, and others know, and the rest know and ignore it. We humans are very interesting, aren't we? Now I want you to answer this question. Do you always truly know why you are doing what you are doing? Leave us your answers, any feedbacks in the comment section. We will see you soon. Stay safe and good. Goodbye.